So he was like, oh, like, I'm gonna step to the side. And I looked at him, I was like, boy, do you want to die today? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to get ready together. This is the final look, so I'm going to show you guys how I did my makeup and all of that fun stuff. Still social distancing, so this is a get ready with me to go sit on the couch look, but it's gonna be fun. And the best part, we're gonna talk a lot of trash about boys. We're gonna have a little girl talk about boys and relationships and breakups and moving on and long distance relationships and all of that fun stuff. So make sure you guys stay tuned and I'll show you guys how I did this look. But first, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, guys. Make sure you give this video a big old thumbs up. And let's get into the fun stuff. Okay, so let's get into category face. I'm gonna list the products below. I'm not gonna talk about them while we're having our little chit chat, because like we're gonna talk about something a little different, y'all. We have an interesting topic today. I want to talk to you guys about relationships and breakups and moving on and all of that fun stuff. So stay tuned. So I bought a bunch of different primers recently. I bought the Farsali Skin Tune Blur, the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and what's the other one? Oh, Milk, the one by Milk that everybody uses. And so far, I'm just like loving this skin tune. Like I'm really into it. Anyways, so let's talk about relationships. I feel like everybody always wants to talk about like moving on, breakups, and like just all things relationships. And so we're gonna get into that because I'm curious to like see what you guys think in the comments and stuff. But yeah. And I mean, honestly, like we've all been there. We've all had that one relationship that changed us or that like made us go through this like huge, self-love journey, or that one ex that just screwed us over that we hate so much, blah, blah. We all have that one relationship that just like changed everything for us. So let's talk about how to get over a breakup. And I'm not talking about like that guy that you dated for like a week or 2 days and then like it was just a relationship that you were in just because you were bored. I'm talking about those like soul crushing like relationships where you thought he was like your everything and you thought you were going to be with him forever. I'm talking about those relationships, girl. I know you know what I'm talking about. But I feel like the most common thing people say about breakups is, oh, just, like distract yourself, get a hobby, move on, like hang out with your friends, blah, blah, blah. I would never tell somebody to do that. Don't ever be a therapist. That's the worst advice you could give somebody, is to just like, oh, get over it, like move on, distract yourself, blah, blah. Like, yes, we all want to move on and not dwell on that relationship, but everybody's journey when it comes to a breakup is different. We're not all on the same path. There's no like timeline for how long you should take to get over somebody. You know what I mean? I saw this quote once that was like, you're allowed to take twice as long getting over somebody as you did loving them. And I loved that. I was like, girl, yes, preach to the choir. But the thing is though, it shouldn't be like, and I'm not saying like take a year, take 5 years to move on from somebody. All I'm saying is that like everybody's journey is unique and nobody should like tell somebody how long they should spend getting over a breakup. You're allowed to take your time with it. You're allowed to be hurt or upset or like in a tough place. You know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to have it all figured out. And I think that's really like my point here. So like I had this relationship that I was in for like on and off for like a really long time, like, and I thought he was like everything. Like I thought I was gonna marry him and I thought we were gonna have babies and I thought he was like just like freaking Moses, like walking on water and stuff, I swear I thought he was like God, like just a gift on earth, this guy. And he ended up honestly screwing me over. And it took me, how long y'all think it took me to get over him? I want you to guess how long you think it took me. Because honestly, it took me a really long time. It took me like It took me like 2 years to like really, really, truly work on getting over him and like getting over that breakup and stuff. And I tried the distraction thing. I tried like going out and is that makeup in my hair? Oop, child. And I tried distracting myself. I tried like going out with friends, and I tried talking to other guys and like moving on in other relationships, blah blah. And honestly, like if you are trying to get over a breakup and you're going out and you're doing all these different things to distract yourself, but then when it's all quiet and you're at home at night in your bed and you're sad and all of those emotions that you were trying to block out come back in, that's a problem and you need to address that. Like it's just not, my biggest thing when it comes to breakups is like if you're really sad and like you're having all these emotions, you need to sit with those emotions. I feel like we like too often kind of like demonize our feelings and kind of shame ourselves. That's that ooh, that's the word, shame. We always shame ourselves for feeling things that are completely human and natural, like oh, like she's still not over him. And it's like, who gives a damn? Like, why is that your business? Damn, do they cut you a check for being nosy? You can go mind your own business because you a little too nosy for me. But yeah, like that was the biggest thing that I learned is that like my journey is my journey. And every time that I was like trying to distract myself with something else, I was just pushing it back and like elongating the amount of time that it would take for me to move on. And so like I did all types of things. I tried like getting really into hobbies and like distracting myself, and none of those things worked. And then I did like spirituality stuff. So like I did Reiki and like working with an intuitive healer, and honestly, that helped. You know how they say like when you know, like sleep with somebody that you exchange energy and that like you form like an energetic cord between the two of you? That's the same for any form of intimacy, whether it's physical intimacy or emotional intimacy. It's the same thing. Like you're forming a bond with that person, and that's what I had experienced with that one relationship, like that one breakup that was just really hard for me. Like I was experiencing like an emotional connection with somebody that couldn't just be broken by just like walking away. Like I needed somebody to help me move on from that relationship, and that's okay. Like so I worked with a healer and they really helped me. I'm gonna let y'all in a little secret. The biggest thing that I learned during that like whole breakup thing was taking responsibility for myself and my own actions, and taking like not misplacing accountability. I feel like if your ex that you're trying to like get over the breakup with, if they cheated on you, mistreated you, disrespected you, used you, lied to you, I feel like people are always like, oh, I hate my ex, or they did this and they did that. And that's fair. That's fair. So like my ex had, it like turned out that he had a girlfriend that I didn't know about. And then like he, you know, toyed between like me and his other ex for literally years, like years. And it wasn't until he got his other ex pregnant that it really changed everything. And I feel like I spent so much time like hating him, hating her, and instead of taking responsibility for my own actions, like always trying to understand why did he cheat, or why did he lie, or why did he play me. You can spend your entire life trying to understand somebody else's actions, but until you take accountability for your own, you're always going to be holding on to that relationship, because you're going to be like, you're going to drive yourself freaking crazy trying to figure out why they did what they did. Who cares? Like, yes, it sucks, but at the end of the day, the only person's actions you can understand are your own. So for me, like some of those questions I had to ask myself were like, yes, he lied about having a girl, blah, 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 but like, why didn't you leave when you found out about her? And that was so, bro, that was so hard for me to come to terms with. Turning that back on myself instead of constantly blaming him and being like, no, girl, look at yourself, look at your actions, and let's dig into that. Let's dig into what it is about you that allowed you to stay in a situation with somebody who wasn't treating you right. And figuring out how to answer that question, I think that honestly took a lot of work. I think that's the core of the work that you have to do when you're getting out of a relationship. Looking at yourself and reflecting on yourself instead of obsessing over this breakup. I think we all do that. I think we all get so obsessed into like the why and the need for closure. And I think the best thing you can do for yourself in a breakup is give closure to yourself and like take that other person, the ex or whatever, out of the equation and focus on yourself. Like I took him out of the equation. It wasn't about him, because it's like the second you break up with somebody or they break up with you, it no longer becomes about them. Now it's about you. Girl, when I figured that out, I was lit. Like, I feel like in the beginning, I was like so sad, which is fine. Like, I was going through it. I was so sad. And I was just like, why did he do this to me? Why did he hurt me? Why did he lie to me? And then I'm like, now I'm like this whole new person and I'm good and I'm chilling. Okay, I'm letting my concealer sit for a second. Pro tip, if you didn't know, after you put your concealer on, let it sit for a sec because it needs to like bake into your skin. So I'm gonna leave it alone for a little second. I'll give it probably like another minute and then I'll go in. I was in such a low place that I was attracting low partners. Let's run that back because I don't think you heard me. I was in such a low place that I was attracting low partners. And now I've elevated myself. And here's the key thing too, like that's a continuous journey. It's not like, I don't want y'all to think that I'm just like, oh, so happy and great every day. Hell no. I have my days. I have my off days where I'm just like, I just want to be like a sack of potatoes. And that's okay. If you're constantly working to improve yourself and elevate yourself, that's when you become the winner and your ex can just go away forever. And then honestly, like the thing that came out of that, out of like, you know, taking responsibility for my actions, was getting like realizing that I had low self-esteem and low self-worth. And when I was able to like answer those questions for myself and take accountability for my actions, I was able to see that like I wasn't respecting myself. Like, yes, my ex disrespected me, but at some point I taught him that it was okay to treat me that way by, you know, not standing up for myself and walking away sooner. Like, I taught him that it was okay to be a lying, cheating scumbag. You know, those actions are on him, but I can also take responsibility for allowing it. And so once I saw that, girl, my self-worth went from like here to here. I'm just so like hype. I think when you can come out of a crappy relationship and see like the good in it and the benefit of it, that's when you win. And that's when you take your power back. I feel like I low-key look like Casper's sister. Casper the Friendly Ghost sister. Because like I'm looking hella pale. But it's okay. This is all going to come together. You guys know what it's like when you're doing your makeup and you're looking a little crazy because you're mid-process. So that's where we're at. It's all good. I got this. I got y'all. So I have a question for you guys though. What is your guys' opinion on long distance relationships? I'm super curious. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like I don't believe in long distance relationships because like they just don't work. And I'm like, that sounds like a lie. I feel like I hate when people say that they don't believe in long distance relationships, because I feel like if two people really want to make it work, they will. Distance shouldn't be a factor when love is involved. Like, who cares? Who cares about that? But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. Have you guys ever been in a long distance relationship? And do you guys believe that they work? Like, do you guys think that two people can be living in different parts of the world, different states, different cities, whatever, and make a relationship make a long distance relationship work? This is kind of weird, but like 80% of my relationships have been long distance, truly. But yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like if you love that person, why does distance have to be a factor? You know? But I think there's rules on that. I think like I think if you're dating in completely different time zones, like if you're in New York and the person that you're dating is in like Australia or I don't know, something else, something whatever, you know, where you really have to make it work and you can barely even have a conversation because you're on completely different time zones. If you're dating like that and for a really long time and you have no plans to move to be together anytime soon, that's tough. Like, because what really, like, when do you get to talk? You guys get like 2 hours where you're on the same, you know, type of time where you can have a conversation. I just feel like it's really hard when it's like that. But I see a lot of people like, oh, I wouldn't do long distance relationship, and it's like they mean they wouldn't even date somebody who's like a couple of states over. I'm like, that's just lazy. I'm 26 and like everyone I know is getting older. We're all getting older, and it's like you have the means to travel. So who really, like, why does it matter? But that's just me. This is not coming out how I want it. You guys, do you know how hard it is to talk and do your makeup at the same time? This is why I hate getting ready with girls, because girls always want to talk about guys when you're like doing your makeup and getting ready to go out. And it's like, I need to focus on my highlighter, not your bummy ass ex. So I got this really interesting makeup tip from, I think his name is Scott Barnes, but that might be wrong. He's JLo's makeup artist. That might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I think his name's Scott Barnes. And he gave this tip of like when you're doing your contour, instead of brushing like outward, brush inward and like upward. And that has worked wonders for my contour. It just makes it so much better. It makes the like point, like it makes it, you know, more pronounced, the contour. And I love that. I was like, go ahead, Scott. Coming in clutch with the tips. So I feel like people always have this conversation or topic about whether or not you should go back to an ex. And my whole thing is, it depends. If it's somebody where like the relationship was really toxic or whatever, then hell no, you should not go back to them. You can do better. You can do better. So no, I do not think you should go back to them. But sometimes people meet at the wrong time, but they're not the wrong person. They're the right person. And I think situations like that, like sometimes two people need to evolve apart in order to come back together. And stories like that are so beautiful to me. Like you hear about like, you know, they dated in like the 70s or whatever, and then they split up and they were apart and they traveled the world separately, and then they came back together and like their relationship was great. I think stories like that are so beautiful. And in some cases, like that is the right person for you. And it's gonna take time. But girl, that is not all the time. That is 9 times out of 10. I think just remember that you guys broke up for a reason. Like there was a reason. I'm gonna take this contour and just go down here and blend that out. Usually I contour my jawline, but I'm not gonna do that today because your girl doesn't feel like it. I'm gonna make sure everything's blended. What do you guys think? I think this is coming out pretty nice. What do we think? Do you like it? But I'm a firm believer that like when you are on the right path that you're supposed to be on in life and you're doing what you're supposed to do to become a better person and just really focusing on yourself and minding your own business, that's when I think we get lucky enough to find the person that we're supposed to be with. That's when I think, you know, God sends the right person for you your way. So if you're like wondering when you're gonna meet your person and you're like tired of the dating game, as let's be honest, we all are. It is crusty out here. Like these options are crusty. Girl, if you can get out now, get out. But if you're just like wondering when you're gonna meet your person and when you're finally gonna be like out of the dating game, just focus on yourself. That is the best way. That is the best way to meet your person. And you'll be, I'm a firm believer that like you'll be naturally guided to who you're supposed to be with. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit on my face for a second and let it bake, kind of. Actually, scratch that. No, I'm not. I'm gonna blend this out with my sponge. Just gonna tap it into my face. I don't usually do that. I normally let it sit, but I saw Leah J do this yesterday, or I was watching, she didn't do it yesterday, but I was watching a video yesterday, like an old one, and she just kind of like patted it into her skin. So I'm gonna try that for like the first time. I'm a big baker. Like I like to bake my face because I have really oily skin. But we're gonna try something. We're gonna take a walk on the wild side, guys. Let's have an adventure with my face. This is coming out cool. It looks, one thing I noticed in comparison to when I bake it, it looks a lot more like airbrushed, which I'm into. Like we want to look airbrushed. We don't want to look like pasty, ghosty girls. Still a little ghosty, but definitely not pasty. Yeah, I like this. This might be my new thing. Isn't it weird how like when you, after you do your contour and then you put your setting powder on, it makes your face look so ghostly after you just contoured, and then you have to go back in and contour again. It's not my fave thing in the world, but we're gonna thug it out. When in doubt, thug it out. So like, what's the worst date you guys have ever been on? My worst date was with this guy from college, not my ex, somebody different. And we went to Dave & Buster's. And it wasn't a bad date. There was just like a weird thing that happened, and I was just like, is this boy for real? He asked me out, he picked me up, all this stuff. We get to Dave & Buster's, and the lady at the front was like, oh, it's gonna be, I don't know, like $12 for a ticket. I don't remember how much it was. And this is so embarrassing. When this happened, I was like, I want to go home. Check. But so we get to the front, and the lady was like, oh, it's gonna be like, I don't know, however much money it was. And he takes out his card and he pays the girl like $12, right? And then he puts his card away and he steps to the side for me to pay for myself. Now look, everybody's different, but I do not believe in, like, when a guy's like courting a girl, she should not be paying for herself. Like, that should most definitely not be a thing. You know, like, you're interested in her, you asked her out, like, it's just, that might be old school. I know people are a little bit more, like, some people are different and, like, believe in, you know, equal, whatever. I'm not that girl. I want you to pay for everything while we're, like, courting. Now, I do believe in, like, splitting stuff once we're, like, dating, once we're in, like, a legit relationship. But in the beginning, there is no reason I should be paying for myself. So he was like, oh, like, I'm gonna step to the side. And I looked at him, I was like, boy, do you want to die today? Girl, I was heated. I was pissed. I was like, you asked me out, you pick me up, you pay for the ticket. And it wasn't even expensive. It's not like I'm asking you to buy me a Chanel bag. Like, chill out. But he was really stingy with his little paycheck. So what did I do? I paid for myself. Not my proudest moment. And it gets worse. So he didn't pay for my ticket, right? But after Dave & Buster's, we went to a bar. So we just like hung out there. He paid for all of my drinks. Now that to me is a red flag. Like, you don't want to pay for me to have a good time, but you will willingly pay to get me drunk. Okay, so I did my eyeliner off camera because, like, let's be real, I cannot do my eyeliner and talk to y'all at the same time. Like, that is sorcery. I'm gonna use my Buxom blush. I love that color. Like, I love how that goes on your skin. I think I saw another YouTuber use this and I was like, ooh, add to cart, cha-ching. Yeah, look how pretty that is. It's such a natural looking blush too. Like, it's not like those clowny looking blush. So pretty. Okay, now we're almost done. Lips. Okay, so I just lined my lips with my NYX lip liner, and I'm gonna use, guys, this lipstick is the holy grail. It's Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I saw it all over TikTok, so I was like, you know what? Let me be a bandwagoner for a second because I really want to try this, and it's just so pretty. It's so creamy. It's such a nice color for my skin. I'm not a huge lipstick wearer. I like lip gloss, but this with the Dior lip maximizer on top is okay. There we go. And then I'm gonna finish it off with my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Also got peer pressured by TikTok to buy this. I'm gonna make a video on things TikTok made me buy because I went a little ham. I just saw a bunch of really cool stuff on there that I wanted, added it all to my cart. So we're gonna get into that in one of these videos. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. Okay, so my makeup is done, but I'm not quite done yet because as you can see, this is a little bit of a situation. So I'm gonna go get all the way right and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. This is what I would look like if I were going out somewhere. Thanks so much for tuning into this chat, guys. This was fun. Make sure to leave a comment down below. I think I asked you guys, 1, have you ever been in a long distance relationship? And do you believe in them? And 2, what was your worst date? So let me know in the comments, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Thanks, guys.